Join us now to discuss the key policy issues here in Washington. Bernie, Jesus. Sarah Bianchi, Evercore Public Policy Chief Strategist. Sarah, I'm looking at and thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
It's nice to have you all in D.C.
I'm looking at all these possible things we can talk about, and I was going to decide which ones are most important. I don't see how you don't talk about Iran first, but we're not going to get anywhere. So, I mean, something's probably going to happen, right? We have these machinations every day. They'll probably be we're looking at a 60-day something with the straight reopening, hopefully. So, is there anything more to say?
I think that's right. I think the deal on the table is the deal on the table. It's not a perfect deal for the president by any means, which I think is why he keeps hesitating. But the Iranians have held tough, and I don't think he's got a choice. So it's going to be some version of that, some opening of the straits, some economic relief for Iran, and 60 days to, I think from Trump's perspective, hopefully he gets to say that, he gets a moratorium on nuclear. Maybe that's slightly better. But I think this is whatever day it comes, I think that's the deal we're looking at.
I mean, you're Evercore Public Policy Chief Strategist, so you do something very specific. I guess we should talk about whether this Republican-controlled Congress can get anything else done. How does that rank in terms of the most important topics right now?
I think that's pretty low. I don't think we have particularly have high expectations.
Nothing's going to happen, you mean?
I mean, maybe a few slight things.
Let's switch to the midterms then. Does that matter?
I think that does matter, although I'll tell you, I think that we're going to pivot very quickly to the 2028 race when we're going to hear a lot of new ideas like the ones you all were talking about on Bernie Sanders and AI. I think the topics are going to switch
that going for us.
Very quickly. I think the midterms...
If the Dems take the House and the Senate, what does that mean, though? What do the next 2 years portend?
And what are the chances of that? Because it's gone down with this.
I think the market, or some of the betting markets, got ahead of themselves on the Senate.
On the Senate
for the Democrats. I think you still have Michigan and a kind of bizarre primary, issues around Maine. Ohio's very tough. So there's just a lot of things that have to go right. In terms of what it means, I think, slightly more funding. I think it does put pressure on the Democratic Party to have a proactive agenda, which they haven't particularly had for the time. It can't just be anti-Trump. But in terms of what they agreed to, marginally more healthcare spending, marginally some other things like that. But I don't think it's going to be most of what President Trump has done. He's done through executive power, and I expect he will run that through the tape. So
we have Kevin Warsh. First 100 days, market tests him. It hasn't tested him yet. Think it will?
The market's been pretty patient. The market's been pretty patient with Iran. I think the market is happy with the Warsh getting through and getting done. It's as good a pick as it could have hoped for. So I'm not positive the market's going to be a test.
Is the market anticipating rate cuts?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of uncertainty now in terms of the war, right, and what that all means. But I think certainly would like to see a rate cut. I'm sure the president would like to see one. But again, I think the market, and by the way, the economy has been pretty resilient, through tariffs, immigration, oil shocks.
When we said we're not there yet for UBI, when you hear the Democrats talk about the economy and how bad it is with inflation, you'd think we're almost there already with UBI. Will that play into the midterms?
I don't think we're going to be.
Are they 30? How bad are people feeling right now? Do you really?
They do not feel good. They don't feel good, and
they don't. $4 gas.
Yeah, it's higher here. They don't feel great, and I think they are impatient with this president because they brought him back to fix this issue, and they don't think that he has laser focused on it, and they don't feel that much better.
He's definitely focused on Iran at this point. That's got to happen first.
Understood, but I think they brought him back to fix the economy. But I think it's going to be a challenge for any government, honestly. I don't think people feel like institutions are working for them. So watching him struggle through the messaging in some ways feels like watching President Biden struggle.
And it always depends on which party's in power. With the stock market, when one party's in power, the stock market doesn't represent the economy. When the other party gets in, suddenly it does represent the economy. The stock market's got to be saying more than just AI. I mean, there are solid results almost across the board. Isn't there the underpinnings of the economy?
Yeah,
as far as corporate?
The challenge that even it's not just the market. Traditional economic metrics are not translating into how Americans are feeling. They just feel things are going up and they're not getting ahead. And I think it's interesting because that proposal you all were talking about is from Bernie Sanders. But the head of AI, who you have, or corporate affairs, Chris Lehane, who you guys having today,
speaking later today,
praised him for it. Said some of the same stuff. Steve Bannon talking about some of the same issues. These politics, when they get here, are going to be strange bedfellows.
Because you're talking about populism and you're talking about affordability issues, and it's hard to get at that when you are not seeing lower interest rates that feed into mortgage prices, whether you can buy a home, what it costs for your student loans, along all of those items.
I think that's right. I think we're going to see again, not for the midterms, but going into next year with these presidential primaries, some proposals. When was the last time you saw companies coming in talking about why we need to raise taxes on their products? I think these AI CEOs are nervous, so I think we're going to see really interesting.
How much of it is sort of political theater insofar as, do you imagine some of these companies say to themselves, I can say these things. I can say, please come regulate me, knowing full well that the place we're in right now is so polarized that the ability for anything to happen is almost impossible.
I think that's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. It's easy to say, and they all say we're for taxation on some of these products, but the devil's in the details, right? And so there is a lot of that. It is easy to say. They're trying to get things done in the states in the interim, but at some point it's going to change. Just look how quickly the issues around data centers changed. I mean, there's protests all over Virginia now for data centers. I lived there. We used to have.
That's what surprised me about Bernie. Bernie's got to decide: do we want to boo at college commencements, or do we want to have a sovereign fund?
He probably would like to do both, but
boo and
but you're
right.
Right.
Boo and
we're going to get a lot of wild ideas on this issue over the coming years.
All right, thank you.